Well, how's everybody doing? Quick update video. Had a lot going on here lately, so it's hard to kind of keep up with making videos and stuff. So here's what's happening. I got the 302, putting the 140 off-road camshaft back in it. Getting ready to put the solid lifters in it and the solid cam back in it. Got the flywheel on it. Got to clean the flywheel up. It's got some grease on it. So we got this thing in the shop. A lot of y'all recognize that from videos long ago. I stripped this thing down, going to make a race car out of it, and never did. So what's happened is I've saved up a whole bunch of parts for this thing for a really long time. Here it is, a year or two, maybe 3 years later, however long I've had this. It's been a long time ago. I'd have to look at my videos, but anyway, so it's been sitting a long time. So I finally got around to motivated it. I'm going to build it now. So put new lower and upper control arms on it. It's got new ball joints already in them, both sides. Took the factory springs off, put ground effect springs on it. It's a softer spring rate. Really freed it up. It's going to be a little lower now. Better to be softer, and I'm hoping to get it a little lower, cut the air out from under it. But got a flywheel on that 302. Got this here Sonoma. Got a little 5-speed back there we're going to attach to it, and we got that 513 gear over there behind this motor. It's got Moser axles in it. It's a narrowed 12 bolt. So it's got a spool in it and everything, 513 gear. So I'm thinking high RPM engine, 5-speed, low geared rear axle. This thing's going to be a riot. It's going to be a blast. So I already took the power steering pump off, put the manual pump, took the power steering gearbox off, put a manual gearbox on it. I had to clearance it a little bit to make it fit. I don't think it was like that on the other truck. The other truck, I think it was bolted more flat. I can't remember, but I know it didn't hit stuff like that. So I had to clearance it because it only uses 3 out of the 4 bolts on this. Don't know what that box is off of. I mean, I know what I took it off of, but I don't know what it was originally off of. But it works. Hooks up to the factory steering shaft. Put new brakes on it, brake pads, brake calipers, brake lines. I got to redo all the metal lines because I used to have anti-lock brakes, and I've eliminated that. So now I'm just going to come out, tee off on this line to this line, and well, I mean, I'm going to put new lines in it, but I'm going to have the front lines tee off, and then the back line will shoot to the back and tee off to the back. I'm gonna go ahead and put new brake lines on it. This side's okay, I got it hooked up, but this side was rusty, and I'm like, well, I wonder how thick that is and how bad the rust is on it. So I just kind of bent it a little and went tink and snapped. So yeah, I'm gonna have to replace all the metal brake lines on it, which is not a big deal because I'm gonna have to get rid of them anyway, because I have a feeling I'm fixing to cut all this out and plate all that in somehow. But that's all gonna have to go because I have to have that 8-quart pan on there. If I ain't got an 8-quart pan, I don't think that 5-quart pan on that other motor is gonna do it. I really need that big oil pan on this motor. This thing, I mean, you can turn it up to 11, literally. Like, I've turned over 11,000 RPMs in that motor before, and it doesn't care. And yeah, it needs that oil because I'm sure it's pumping it all up to the valve covers, and it's all sitting in this valley pan. I've opened up the oiling on it. There's a drain, so where I got that all nice and chamfered and radiused, and same with the back. Them are all rolled in real nice and enlarged. So it gets rid of the oil good enough because I haven't had any problems with, you know, shooting oil out the valve cover or nothing. But I don't want to risk it, you know. That extra few quarts of oil is peace of mind that I ain't gonna run that thing dry at a high RPM and blow it up. Because I mean, it's got an eagle crank in it, it's got scat rods, got icon pistons. I built this thing really good. It's a good solid motor. I don't want to hurt it, so I'm just gonna have to do some cutting and hacking on that. And I don't want to do what most people do and just cut it out and leave it. I'm gonna cut it out and try to box it in and plate it in and make it stronger than it was before, or at least strong enough. I don't know. If anything, I could run a bar across the front and kind of tie it in a little better, reinforce it, put a bar across here, nice like 3-inch square tubing or something across there. I don't know. I don't think that's, I mean, it's a pretty important piece of metal, but it ain't that important. I can cut on it, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. So I've seen it done before. The truck I took that steering box out of, that was all hacked up. So it was okay, this will be okay. But I wanna do it right, you know. I wanna plate it and weld it all back and kind of box it in. Make sure I got plenty of clearance for that big oil pan. So, yeah, that's what I've been up to. I fired this engine up. The carburetor's junk. So I got a little short clip I might edit into this, of this thing running for the first time. Well, so I forgot to start the camera the first time it ran, but it was like the third time it ran. I'd started it up and had it on camera, but it's got a Chevrolet Performance crankshaft in it. It's got the good pink rods in it. It's got forged pistons in it. Howard's camshaft. Comp cam double roller timing. It's got a Moroso oil pump, high volume, high pressure pump. This thing will sit there and idle at 80 PSI. You barely touch the throttle, it'll bury that gauge over to 100 PSI. It's got plenty of oil pressure. Almost too much. So yeah, it's got all the King XP series bearings in it. I used some really good parts in this engine. It's gonna be a good engine. Don't know for what yet, but it's a good one. So I like to have a spare, you know, just in case. But I was one of them I picked up. I picked up like 2 small blocks. One of them was complete and the other one was, I mean, it had the heads on it. And the other one's still sitting over there, but I picked up two of them for 400. And I was like, well, 400 bucks, I'll take a chance. And if anything, that one had good heads on it, posi locks on the heads. It had some good parts in it. So I'm like, well, I'll just do it. I haven't messed with this one yet. I have noticed that there's only 2 bolts holding both heads on, like 1 bolt per head. Some of the lifters are stuck in there, which they're probably mushroomed over. They couldn't get them out. The camshaft's gone. The main bearings are loose. I noticed the main cap's loose, so I'm not sure what's going on with this engine. So far, like it ain't stuck, it'll turn over. So far, by looking at it, it's got a little bit of surface rust in the bores, but it don't have any ring ridge. And it ain't all gouged up real bad. Like it's pretty good. I haven't measured to see if it might be bored over. That engine was bored 30 over. Long drawer here. Where was I? Did something get moved? What the hell? Oh, okay. Something got moved here. I'll take a measurement of that bore here real quick and see if it's 30 over. Uh, 4-inch bore. That's good though, because it don't have hardly any ring ridge on it.